Hey string slingers, it's that guitar guy, Frank Spear, back with you for another lesson. I hope you've been enjoying the lessons. Welcome back to the channel. Today I've got something really cool for you. It's about freedom, total freedom in your playing. It's about learning to love every note and coming to the understanding that there's no such thing as a wrong note. I'm going to prove that to you today. I'm going to show you something today that will give you the freedom to play anything you want, any note you want, over any chord you want. There's one thing you have to keep in mind that's going to help you sound really hip and really great. Okay, so let's get right to it. Okay, today I'm playing over a simple B major vamp. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the B minor pentatonic scale, and then I'm going to play all the notes that are not in the scale around it. All the chromatic tones, all 12 notes, we're going to play against that B major chord. And you're going to see that every note sounds good. Now here's the thing. Two principles. One, an out note, a bad note, a note that's not in the key will sound really weird, odd, out at first. But if you play it a second time or even a third time, it starts to sound good. And the audience, the listener, will think, hey, yeah, that does sound pretty good. I'm going to prove that to you. So you never have to worry about hitting a bad note again. Because if you hit a note that sounds clunky or weird or it's a clam, just do it again. And then maybe even do it again. And people think you did it on purpose, and it really does start to sound good. We're going to see that. The second principle is this. Always land on a chord tone on the strong beats. Always land on a chord tone, the root of the chord, the third, the fifth, and if it's a 7 chord, land on the 7. You could choose from those 4 notes. So a minor 7th chord, a major 7th chord, a dominant 7th chord, then add the 7 in as one of the chord tones. But always land on a chord tone on the strong beats. A bet, a bet, right? On those strong beats, on 2 and 4 or 1 and 3, however you're going to phrase, just make sure you land on the strong beats of the tune. Let me show you. Okay, there I played mostly notes you would expect to hear, mostly in notes. But what if I started throwing in? All those notes, all 12. Well, here's what I want to do first. I want to play all 12 notes against that B major chord and show you that even the ones that sound weird at first sound great if you repeat them. Let's try it. The root. But watch. Now, how amazing was that? When you first heard me go from that B to the C, right, which is a flat 9 or a flat 2, man, it sounds dissonant and bizarre and out. No, that's not a good note. But you have to admit, the more I played it, you thought, wait a minute, that sounds pretty cool. Let's keep going. They all started to sound cool after a couple of seconds, didn't they? We'll go through all 12 notes. When we hit one that's like, ooh, right? Because we're going to go through some chord tones as we go through the chromatic scale, or all 12 notes. We're going to hit some chord tones that are going to sound great. We're going to hit some other notes like the 4, the 6, that may not sound normal or something that you're used to hearing often, but still sound pretty good. Then we're going to hit those ones like the flat 2 or the flat 5 that are, but then watch. To that flat 5, the F against that B, really weird. The 4 is the E, not too weird, but the 3rd, that sounds right, because it's a part of the B major chord. Flat 5th, but the more we played it, the better it sounded. Now, why it sounds so weird is the 5th is in the chord, and you're playing that flat 5 right next to it. So you're getting those notes on top of each other, and you're getting this sound right here. Let's see. Which can sound beautiful to some people already, but for most of us there's a dissonance there, right? So we've got that. But playing those notes separately is a different story. Now we want to get to the principle of playing any note we want over any chord we want all the time. When you're improvising, especially if you're writing, then you're going for a specific group of notes, a specific sound, a specific melodic line, whatever you want. You may even use this technique there too. But when you're improvising and somebody says, go, take a solo, you can play any note on the fingerboard you want. Just be sure to land on the strong beats on a chord tone. So, over this B major chord, you want to land on a root, the B. So look visually and see, where are all my B's right here? Where my B's at? Really memorize them, see them as soon as you look at the fingerboard. Then let's just take 2. The 3rd, where is it at? 1, 2, 3. You got one right here, E flat. You got an E flat right here. Probably not going to use that one too much. So here, 3rd, the octave of that, right smack dab in the middle of the chord. So you got, then your roots. You could play any notes at all you want in between there. Just land on one of those, like this. notes sounded terrible. To me, none of them did. Even if they sounded a little odd, you went past it so quick and then you went to one of the good notes. Okay? So learn to see every note as great and just have fun playing. Let's try it again, playing a little bit slower. Now see what I did there? When I hit something that sounded a little bizarre, I just repeated it. I'm going to do a bunch of those and watch how cool they start to sound. Check this out. Try that one. So the point is, anything you do starts to sound cool if you do it repeatedly and you land on a strong note. Now watch what happens if I don't land on a chord tone or a strong note. Then, you may still dig it, but maybe a lot of people won't. But I can use those. What happened there is that my ear got used to hearing it. It was jarred at first. Whoa, what's that? But then I did it again. It was like, oh, he meant to do that. Oh, that's cool. That sounds really cool. That's what you give them. So that frees you up completely to play whatever you want. And when you know something's a little quirky, a little clammy, a little out, just repeat it. Land on chord tones on the strong notes. Now, you can land on the quirky note, on the odd note, and force it on them and say, you're gonna like this. Rather than landing on a chord tone on the strong beats, you can do it that way. You can do it that way where you land on the quirky tone and you kind of force feed it to the audience. Let's try it. gotta say, for me, I find that sound refreshing. Hitting those odd notes, the notes that are not in the key, there's something alive about them. Something that says, you don't belong here, but hey man, come on in. I like it. So I hope you do too. I hope this has been an enlightening and enjoyable lesson for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. Much more to come from this channel. And check out the description below. There's some cool links to some cool gear that I use you might like too. Thank you guys. I'll see you in the next one.